Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is our Wounded Families and Anger Management 101 classes together. Because we've been having such bad weather, I don't understand, but it is so that when we have bad weather, our internet, those who have antietam broadband and other uh, internet services may have some difficulties, whether it be in business or um, personal individual homes. So we apologize for the inconvenience, and surely I know that there are some who miss the classes, but we're here tonight, and we just want to remind everybody that they're welcome. And for those who are in the Hagerstown area, we want to remind you that we welcome you to get in touch with me concerning filling out the certification forms in order for us to continue to receive funding to present these broadcasts. I want to also remind you of our last week's announcement that we were supposed to start on April 5th, but because of so many different issues that we've had, Staples did not get our project that we wanted done to get the flyers out in time, but we've got them done and we are sharing them in the community. Also, we are sharing with those who are connected with us on Facebook and other platforms. We are doing classes on Tuesdays from 1 to 2:30 or 1 to 2. In face-to-face, we can do it longer than we can do live because of the different software that we use or platforms that we use. They charge if we go over 45 minutes. Also on Thursdays, same time, and that is located at Second Christian Church, 65 West North Avenue, or that's East North Avenue, I'm sorry. And we welcome everyone there as well. And our class tonight is going to be part 2 of what we discussed last week. And we also mentioned that wounded families and anger management, as well as Parsons Acts, they all go hand in hand. But we're going to deal with wounded families and anger management again tonight because we did not come on Monday night. And we don't want you all to fall behind, but we're trying to keep the pace up. Okay, our food for thought. I could not get my Adobe PDF file to work, so I'm going to have to just give it to you as I can. I can't post it on this StreamYard because it has to be a PDF file. Our food for thought tonight is adapting to change. Everything changes except God, and letting all the changes in our lives upset us won't keep them from happening. But people change, and our desires and passions change. There's one certainty in life: change. Our thoughts are the first things we need to deal with during times of change because thoughts directly affect our emotions and determine our behavior. Also, the psalmist said, therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change and through the mountains be shaken. Though the mountains, I'm sorry, not through, but though the mountains be shaken, when circumstances change, make the transition mentally, and your emotions will be a lot easier to manage. If something changes that you are not ready for and did not choose, you will likely feel a variety of emotions about the change. And by acting on God's word and not merely reacting to the situation, you will be better able to manage your emotions instead of allowing them to control you. I hope it is playing now. Um, okay, moving right along to where we left off last week. And excuse me that some of the software is not acting right or wasn't acting right, and I didn't really have a chance to go back to straighten it up, but I'm going to deal with it. Children, part two. And children are beautiful and perfect the way they are in individuals. They are full of energy and the desire to imagine, wonder, and explore with the potential to blossom. And they are delightful, being worthy of safe upbringing, unlimited opportunities, and unconditional love in order to meet the full possibilities of who they were created to be. Also, I believe here we have who children of trauma are. And we want to put some emphasis on who children of trauma are. Uh, they are children who have been unfairly subjected to experiences that have shaken their core values. And as I was stating last week, even though most of you online are adults, but we can't put any emphasis enough emphasis on the fact that a lot of you all are adults, but you still have a childlike mind because you haven't let go of the trauma that happened as a child. So we also wanted to um, point out, as well as not only your core values are you um, have been shaken, but the fundamental beliefs in a safe world where humanity and beauty should have been the norm and where adults should have been trusted. You lost trust with adults because it was an adult who traumatized you in whatever way that they did. So it is also important to not label um, yourself or other children, but rather weave your trauma story in ways that help them emerge from that painful ordeal um, unscathed, wholesome, and holy. Children of trauma are beautiful as they are, with new reasons to doubt their beauty. Oftentimes, because you've been teased and you've been bullied, and you have been told that you're not beautiful or you're ugly. And sometimes your own family tell you that. And it's sad, but it has happened. So that may be a way that you've been traumatized. Young human beings who have encountered at least one natural or man made traumatic experience, such as abuse, neglect, violence. There's so many different types of traumatic experiences. War, forced displacement, or relocation, uh, depending on others to survive and heal from the trauma. Uh, they're full of passion, unlimited potential. Uh, let's see what else. Talent, intelligence, personality, thoughts, hope, and feelings, as well as new worries, disturbing memories, and unsettling terror. Playful and curious, and at times playful in ways that reenact the traumatic thing. People oftentimes today are reliving the trauma, they're reenacting the trauma. But I know many of you don't want to continue to live like this. So that's why we're providing these broadcasts so that you can heal, you can become aware, you can get to the root of what was the cause of the trauma and deal with it. Stop suppressing it, as we have stated so many times, but handle it, cope with it. And we have offered many coping skills of how to deal with it. Okay, eagle learners, though often distracted by concerns, memories, and anxieties, uh, we find that people or individuals are like this if they've been trauma, especially as children. Products of their parents, but not possessions, and now also products of trauma. And I was a little behind, but we're right here. And I think I have lost the slide here. But anyway, these children of trauma are easily shaped and influenced, but usually less easily able to trust. Many of you are not comfortable, not able to trust anybody because of your traumatic experiences. And in need of basic needs, physical and emotional safety, loving presence, as well as patience and understanding. Now, what do children need? Um, Children need emotionally engaged parents or caregivers who can help keep eye contact and provide a genuine smile, a caring touch, um, warm hugs, kisses, uh, and when needed, a shoulder to cry on. But oftentimes, children don't get that. Children didn't get it. You, as a child, may have not gotten these needs met. So you tend to cut yourself off away from people. And they need to have their basic needs met. Um, I'm trying to think of the person that we learned about that I think it was Maslow who gave us the hierarchy needs. And see. As loving parents or caregivers, we want to give our children what they need most to feel good about themselves and the world in spite of the trauma they have encountered. Uh, when someone or parent understands the child's needs or anybody else that's in their lives, they're better able to supply it for them. This makes life better for all of you, and or should I say for all of us, because they receive what they need, or you receive what you need, and your desire to parent well is fulfilled. Now, um, children let us know in various ways if their needs are or aren't being met. And this usually means that they let us know through their behavior, children's behaviors. I want you all to hear this tonight. Their behaviors are usually about three needs related questions. And I'm getting ready to present them to you. Can you hear me? If not, then I will get louder or become voiceless. In working in the school system, I saw that, heard that many times from different children who were in school suspension or with the other classes, alternative classes, because they were trying to make a statement to those who were in charge. Can you see me? If not, then I will try harder or become invisible. Can I trust you to have my needs met? If not, then I will take risk in order to fulfill my own needs, or I will minimize, dismiss, and ignore my needs. They don't want to focus on schoolwork. They don't want to focus on anything that they were sent to school to do because we're not listening to their needs. One need that a child needs, the first need I want to talk about is safety. Our very being depends on safety, physical and emotional safety, safe touch, excuse me, and the belief that our world is generally a safe place. Oftentimes, children don't feel safe, especially if they've been traumatized. If a child has been molested after they were sent to the store by the parent or the guardian, and they've been traumatized but never talked about it because they were told if you say anything about it, you're going to be dead, you're going to die, or something bad is going to happen to you or your family, whatever the case may be. So it's been surpassed or suppressed, I should say. And they hold on to it. And it just gets more serious as the year passes. But I don't care how long ago it's been, you still have hope. And we talked about hope and love last week. You know, when you're showing somebody love and hope, then it makes some changes and it overrules or superrules trauma or the experience of trauma. We tend to focus on physical safety, but emotional safety is just as important. You know, a lot of times we just want to deal with the safety, physical safety. But if you see somebody crying all the time, that's not healthy. It's not good. So that need must be met in order to stop the individual from crying. It's important to have a safe place to hide if necessary, but it's also important to have safe and brave spaces to be heard, to debrief, and to experience the emotional presence of a trusted other. Um, the need for safety must be in the place in order for the child to make good decisions. And when they're not in a safe place or they feel like they're not in a safe place, they're not going to make good decisions. And it's important for you to understand that when children engage in risky behaviors, it can be a sign that they feel unsafe. Adults can feel the same way. And you say, well, why are you calling us children? Because you are a child, you're somebody's child. And we know that because the Creator made us, we are God's children. And you need to hear this. You need to address some important things in your life so that you can change your behavior. Your behavior is not normal. Your behavior is uh, shown because you feel like I'm not safe because of what took place in my life a few years ago. Okay, we're going to get you where you need to be in order to become healthy. Okay, we're still talking about being safe. Of course, um, let me see, let me go back to some other notes. There was a statement made by a individual. It said, I remember one day my middle child came home very upset and was giving me and her mom attitude. And I asked if she was behaving the same way in school, and she replied, of course not. So I asked, why then was she doing this at home? She answered, maybe because I feel safe at home. That statement stunned him. I thought, here we go, another shrink in the family. That statement was an eye opener. Children act out when they don't feel safe. That's what I was saying earlier. Their behavior is just the message that something is wrong. And it is only when they have a safe caregiver that they feel they can have permission to unload that burden in order to lessen their anxiety and feel safe again. So, as parents, we should make it easier for them by being available and willing to listen. That's what I was sharing with somebody the other day, and I said, you have to listen. I don't have to listen. Yes, you do. Because if you don't listen, they're not going to change their behavior. You're not going to find out what's going on because they want you to hear them. And until they are heard, they're not going to change their behavior. So it was said, if I had reached differently than that day by punishing her temper tantrum, I would have likely made things worse for all of us. Making safety a priority means having zero tolerance for violence in any form or shape. When it comes to safety within families, parents might show their love and affection differently to their children, which can be confusing or confirming. When we show love safely, our children won't feel they need to walk on eggshells around us. Safe touch is a essential need and a comfort for everyone, especially survivors of trauma. Everybody, especially when they're gone through some kind of trauma, needs that safe touch, like a hug. Touch can feel awkward when it hasn't been yet established or after a period of time without it. For example, when I left my children for 6 months to help in disaster relief, they were very anxious and didn't know how to connect or reconnect. It took us time to reestablish that bond. And we arm wrestled, some warred, and gave bear hugs. We played together and they rode on my back, among many other things. And I was willing to do whatever it took to bond again with my daughters. Small gestures aren't small in the grand scheme of things. Sitting close while you read a book, snuggling and telling bedtime stories. The last thing before bed is safety. Touch them, kiss them, say I love you. In some cultures, these small activities may be disparaged or discouraged. They are not silly. They are as important for your child's psyche and emotional well-being as explicitly telling them how important they are. It's important, it's essential, it's necessary to tell your child how important they are to you. When you find children who are not told that, and they're not hugged, they're not kissed, they're not showing affection, they're not feeling safe, then they tend to do what? Act out. What about unsafe touch? What does a parent do when the child has been traumatized? Unsafe touch, such as sexual assault, rape, or torture, can do severe damage because the child's body was touched, their voice was not valued, and boundaries were violated. The individual who did the traumatizing, and whatever way they did, they crossed boundaries. I could say boundary, but oftentimes it's boundaries. So one of the foundations that is easily shattered after traumatic experiences of a physical or sexual nature is intimacy and the belief that you can love and be loved again. Oftentimes, when you hear individuals tell their story of how they went through, I'm going to use, for example, rape by a family member, and they suppressed it for years, but then when they decided to get married, they could not be intimate. They could not love like they needed to, or their spouse wanted them to, because of the trauma and because they felt unsafe. So it had to reach out for help. And if you fall in this category, you need to reach out for help. You need to heal where you hurt, because God wants to heal you where you hurt. But at the same time, He's also provided a way of escape for you. And that way of escape tonight is to go and seek for counseling. Go find a safe place so that you can be heard and that you can overcome your traumatic experiences. Okay, once a parent shows their children that they are unconditionally loved, excuse me, regardless of how the children view themselves, they will start to love themselves again and feel comfortable with touch. And that's the way it has been with many ones that got help after they got married and they could not be intimate, they could not hug, they could not touch. But after they went through counseling, they went and spoke with a doctor. Sometimes, and I'm not against it, sometimes you may have to get medication for a while to get through whatever disorder you have or behavior, but not saying that you will always be on the medication. But until you heal, until you overcome the traumatic experience, then you may have to go there. This may take a significant amount of time. So parents need to practice lots of patience and self-restraint. Intimacy means intimacy. So pay close attention to your child's or children's spoken and unspoken language. Okay, there is something else that I wanted to um, put out here tonight. It says belief that the world is generally safe, and when it's not, our smaller world will be. How can we help our children believe the world is a safe place when bombs drop, armies invade, and predators attack? You can't. And it's parents' duties to protect the child. You know, I know that we were to go to an event, but because of the war, a lot of the parents, and I understand, and that's a good parent. We do not want to cause any harm or put any child in harm's way and not put them in a traumatic experience. So it was canceled. So I said, well, one day we will have the opportunity to go to visit that country. How can, let's see what else, we cannot control the world and we cannot stop bombs, shootings, and natural disasters. What we can create is a safe, smaller world, our homes, extended families, and communities where we do all we can to keep each other safe. And that's our goal tonight. That's one of our goals tonight, to help in the community of Hagerstown virtually help one another. Those who are across the states, we're trying to help you bring awareness, educate you to how we can make a safer, smaller world. Even those who are across the borders, we're trying to show you that you can provide or help provide a smaller, safer world. The smallest and largest of worlds is relationship. And as parents, it is our job to make our relationship with our children a place of absolute safety. Now, I have some nuggets here that I want to point out and how we can improve our attachment with our children. Create a safe space for both spirit and body. Make eye contact. Be a warm presence and offer comfort. Accept and validate your child's feelings. Spend time together, one on one, without excessive technology or distractions. Talk together with an open door policy. Speak well of your child. Protect from outside harm as best as you can. And discipline without violence, shame, or unforgiveness. And learn the art of smiling. And there are four major types of attachment styles that I want to put some emphasis on, and that is secure, often displayed by children who have structure in their daily lives and are unconditionally loved. They feel somewhat anxious when their parent is absent, but are quickly comforted when the parent returns. Avoidant, often displayed by abused children. They don't easily make eye contact and often feel safer when the parent is away. That sounds very sad, doesn't it? Ambivalent, often displayed by children who are neglected, whether the parent is there or not. It doesn't really matter much because their absent or present is equally insignificant. And the last one, disorganized, often displayed by children getting mixed messages from the parent or caregiver. And the parent goes back and forth between acting loving and abusive, confusing the children with the uncertainty of what is coming next. Will they be cared for or intimidated? If you're guilty of these things, you got to stop because it's causing your child to react in ways that they shouldn't. And you're part of the problem. But if you don't know what's going on, my advice to you tonight is seek answers, listen to your children, and cope with what's going on or what has happened and provide safety and love to those children. These are four attachment styles are also the four parenting styles. Secure children are a result of parents with a secure parenting style. We often adopt the parenting style of our parents because it is all that we have known. And I think that I'm going to open up for questions and comments. It's about 8 or 9. And before we move on, and I'm going to set the time on, and we're going to come back in about 30 seconds to see if anybody has any questions or comments. We're back. Are there any questions? Are there any comments? I don't see any. So we're moving on. And I just like to say children deserve to have their need for attachment met. Parents need to learn how to attach so their children and families can easily bond. Be around your loved ones in a relaxed way. If your child shuts down when you walk into the house and relaxes when you exit, then you need to urgently and immediately change your ways. Be encouraged to know that their attachments can't happen even later, or they can happen later in life when a person is helped to make meaningful sense of their trauma story. And it's never too late to change. When it comes to our loved ones, loving them is always the right thing to do. I hope someone is getting clarity and understanding of what I am presenting tonight. As our food for thought, it was talking about change. It's nothing wrong with adapting to change. You may have done it wrong in the past, but try it. You might not like it at first, but it's healthy. And a change must come. Structure, that is a need that is needed by our children consistently through routine and structure, as they do not do well in chaos and uncertainty. However, flexibility is also important. Parents, you also need to offer as many healthy, safe options and alternatives as possible. Trauma increases the need for structure because some sense of sanity normally, normally, normacy, I'm sorry, and routine is needed when there is chaos and when safety is not guaranteed. So it's important for structure to be exhibited. Children's play, this is a good thing for many reasons, even at times of trauma. In situations and culture where play is discouraged, children still find ways to do it. Play is a safe and powerful way for children to expose or express their unspoken feelings and imagine and practice new situations and relationships. Sometimes adults discourage children from playing because life is hard and even dangerous. It is important for us to understand that children must play. It is their way of coping and finding relief from the stress of life, especially when emergency and crisis are a part of that life or have been. For many traumatized children, play is their voice. And when they have no words to describe what happened, many parents don't have the energy to join in their children's activities. And we get ready to wrap it up. But I would like to say, make this one point here, and then we will close out for tonight. But many of you don't have the energy to join in their activities, but play is a vital bonding affair at times of uncertainty and distress. And if you can't join in, I urge you to do at least openly appreciate and encourage their play. Take care of yourself so you become available for them when they need you. Play and trauma. Trauma disrupts the sense of security that a normally safe and harmless activity like play provides. Children of trauma often use play as a way of speaking when they don't know how to share what has happened. Play becomes their voice. I've seen in many cases where uh, different ones, it wasn't just children, but I've seen it in children's children's lives and adult lives where they acted out what they went through because they didn't know any other way to express it. But somebody heard, somebody knew what the individuals were saying, and they started embracing, touching, providing uh, a safe place for them. And things begin to turn around. So a lot of the things that were brought out tonight, I hope and pray that everyone understood. And for those of you who have gone through such things as was brought out tonight, that you can better handle it. Not only handle it, but change and do it a different way or a better way so that everyone can be healed and everyone can adapt to change. We're going to stop here on play, and we'll be back with you on Monday. If not Monday, I'm praying that we won't have any more bad weather, that we will stay online. But I also don't mind bringing the wounded families and anger management together because it does go hand in hand. And next class, we're going to talk about how children develop. We're going to talk about the different things that of human development by ages that Dr. Eric Erickson talked about years ago. And we're going to find more knowledge of how that these children, these adults who are still going through childhood traumas can heal and get through these different traumas and heal and become whole. So we just thank you for coming to the platforms, whether it be Facebook or YouTube, listening to what we had to present tonight. And we're just going to continue with this go-to guide for you all, that you can help your children or the individual that has been traumatized, whether it be children, families, and communities, and untangle out of the web that you're in. So know that God loves you, and because he loves you, that he's giving you the opportunity to receive a way of escape. And don't kick against change, because change is good. See you on Monday night at 8 o'clock. If not Monday, definitely Wednesday at 7:30. Good night.